Hello, everybody, and welcome to the SCHOTT Pharmaversity podcast. Today, we will talk about a small product with a wide reach, the glass ampoules. To tackle and learn about this topic, I do have with me the expert in the matter, Victoria de la Torre. Victoria joined SCHOTT Pharma in 2020 as a global product manager for ampoules. She's located in Mainz, Germany, and I tell you, she has been traveling around the world to find out challenges and looking for solutions regarding glass ampoules manufacturing and handling. It is a pleasure to have you here today, Victoria. Welcome.
Hello, Neus, and thank you for having me. It's also my pleasure.
Great. So let's start, Victoria. I'd like to start from the very beginning to ensure that our audience is all on the same page. What is an ampoule?
Ampoules are the oldest pharmaceutical container existing, being right now one of the most used products to store vital pharmaceutical solutions worldwide. If you, for example, go to a hospital and you take a look in the medicine cabinet, you will be surprised because the vast majority of drugs are stored in ampoules.
Okay, so sounds that there are many ampoules out there. So why are still ampoules such an important container for the storage of pharmaceutical drugs?
As you mentioned, Neus, yes, there are a lot of ampoules around the world. In 2021, for example, around 18 billion filled ampoules were sold in the global market, which means through calculations that approximately 40% of all injectable drug solutions are stored in this container. Every 2 years, for example, the World Health Organization released their essential medication list. And on 2021, that was the last version, there were more than 100 essential drugs packed in ampoules. Why they are so popular? Pharmaceutical companies choose ampoules for many reasons, but I'm going to highlight three. The first one is that since the drug is only in contact with the glass, it offers an excellent extractables and leachables profile. It's not that other containers where some of the components are rubber stoppers or plungers. The second reason is that when the ampoule is properly sealed, there is an excellent container closure integrity. And for this, the risk of leakage, for example, it's minimal, if not zero. And the third one is that it enables the access to basic medication, essential medicine, lifesavers, whatever it's the name of this, ampoules are an important part of that.
Thanks. Makes sense and explains, these big numbers. So, Victoria, according to what you're mentioning, I understand that ampoules are an established and mature product in the market. What can SCHOTT Pharma offer here?
In 1923, the company produced the first ampoules in a site in Germany. This means that we are producing ampoules for 100 years right now. The know-how and the experience that we achieved on that time allow us to produce an extensive product portfolio of high-quality ampoules that can help our customer to diminish the challenges common during the fill and finish process as usability of ampoules. Imagine now that pharmaceutical companies or CDMOs are filling thousands of ampoules per hour, and even a small improvement on their lines or how the product is used can help them reduce scrap rate, enhance the total cost of ownership, and even reduce the market complaints.
That sounds interesting. So now specifically, which are the solutions that can be offered, and what is the value that you can provide to pharma companies?
I will cluster the solutions in three main categories, depending on which challenge the pharmaceutical companies wants to address. The first one is regarding patient safety, and we call it the perfect fit for use, which directly relates with drug stability. Although I should say not many highly sensitive drugs are stored in ampoules, it's important to consider first the hydrolytic resistance of the glass container, because containers with lower hydrolytic resistance may influence a pH shift or the inactivation of the drug. And in second place, it's important to mention the light-sensitive products, which require a special type of container. In SCHOTT Pharma, we do not only offer the production of ampoules with a special glass portfolio according to the drug needs, but also in case of customer demands, we can either improve our production process, the conversion from glass to ampoule, to achieve a higher chemical stability. The second cluster is the machinability, manufacturing speed that is crucial in drugs packing ampoules because, as I mentioned before, they are a mass product. We work together with our customers to help them achieving an efficient fill and finish process. Interruptions on the line, perhaps due to an unsuitable container, and discontinuities on the process due to breakage of the glass containers, when you should think that the line should be stopped and cleaned and later restarted to proceed, can cause many hurdles for our customers. To avoid them, we offer a product portfolio that consists mainly on 3 forms and more than 20 different formats or volumes. So it's almost impossible that we won't be able to find an ampoule that adapts to the customer's filling process. Also, we can work together with SCHOTT Pharma Services or Smart Skin Technologies to analyze the behavior of our containers on the fill and finish lines, to detect pressure spots or places where glass-to-glass contact happens, and offer suggestions that will improve the line, that will correct these problems, and later analyze to see if they have been successful.
Okay, so I guess we're missing the third cluster. And I'd like to ask here you, what about the end user? Which features can you offer at the handling point, let's say at the point of application, which I guess is mainly hospital environments?
Exactly. The end user, it's also an important part of this because SCHOTT Pharma's motto is because human health matters, and we want to contribute with this. A few years ago, we made a survey with among 700 nurses in Europe, and we learned that 82 million ampoules are open per day, that it's approximately 3 million ampoules per hour. Broken ampoules or difficult to open ampoules affect more than 21 million healthcare professionals daily. So, as you can see, it can be a really big and important problem. Many life-saving drugs, as I mentioned before, are stored in ampoules, and when a healthcare professional needs to use one of these, every second counts. So perhaps have you heard about SCHOTT Pharma solution for this problem is COPC ampoules?
Yes, and I do like it very much. But explain a little bit to our listeners more. It's a great product, Victoria.
ECOPC ampoules, it's a brake system developed by SCHOTT. They have the lowest and tightest brake force in the market. For example, from 25 to 65 Newton, depending on ampoule format. If we base on a 2 milliliters ampoule, will be from 25 to 45 Newton. With tightest, I mean that if you open multiple ECOPC, the consistency of the brake force will be unmatchable. But it's not only about preventing injuries in healthcare professionals due to hard to open ampoules, and helping them to perform their task without any risk, but also to protect the patient from health risks that are generated by particle contamination while opening the ampoule.
And for that, let's say, challenge, do you offer a specific product?
We don't have a specific product, but we have our extensive know-how regarding ampoules. And internal studies made by SCHOTT Pharma have shown that if you combine SCHOTT Pharma OPC or ECOPC ampoules with a state-of-the-art opening technique, the particles generated while opening the ampoule can be reduced up to 60%. So that it's a huge contribution to patient health and to reduce the risk of particle contamination in the solution.
Mm-hmm. So this contributes to safety for the patients. And safety was one of the keywords you mentioned at the very beginning of this section. So how can our customers, or let's say the pharma customers, ensure that the right drug gets the right patient?
One of the first things I learned when I started to work in pharma is that according to the World Health Organization, 10% of the drugs sold worldwide are counterfeits. And with counterfeits, I mean that they don't have the right components or in the correct concentration. There was even a case some years ago where some women were thought to be receiving injectable contraception drugs, and they were receiving only water. So you can imagine the effects on this. The CDC, so the Center for Disease Control of the United States, says even that this percentage could increase up to 50% in developing countries. And that information stayed with me, thinking that a patient may be receiving a sedative before an operation, an emergency drug after an allergic reaction, and that it could make minimum to no effect at all if the drug is fake. For that, SCHOTT Pharma has developed an anti-counterfeiting ampoule, where the paint used for the OPC dot, the identification rings, or the text and logos printed on the body of the ampoule has light-emitting particles that will be observed by a special reading, shine, helping to retain drug's authenticity. With this, you will be protecting patient health, while also the pharmaceutical company's reputation and IP protection.
Indeed, it seems that counterfeit is really an issue in the pharma industry, and good to hear that SCHOTT Pharma contributes to protect patients from such fake drugs. Well, thanks a lot, Victoria, for your time today. We have reached the end of the podcast. Thanks to the audience too. Take care and bye-bye.
Bye.